Hello everybody and welcome back to a new and exciting episode of Chocobo Dash. I'm one of your hosts, Nell Celestine.
And I'm your other host, Eliot.
It's been a while. We apologize. I understand. People are frustrated. People are upset. People are raging in the streets that there has been no Chocobo Dash for at least 2 months. You can put your pitchforks down, people. It's okay.
Also, I have a gun.
Yeah, you don't want to kind of piss off Eliot with a gun. I mean, there's no gun registration laws in yours here yet.
Nope. Everyone can get them. Anyone who wants to can get a gun and shoot it at whoever. There are no laws about this.
Why am I suddenly feeling this distinct sense of dread?
I don't know. Do you want to take that up with me and my gun?
This isn't FFXIV and you are not from Bastock.
No, but I could make a new Bastock. Anyway,
I miss this inane banter.
Oh yeah, we've accomplished so much. But yes, real life moves and all sorts of dramatic happenings have prevented us from doing as many Chocobo Dash episodes recently as we wanted, but we are here, and we are here now, and we are bringing you, I wouldn't say, the most recent.
No, but this is basically going to be a catch-up episode. We are going to be talking about Heaven's Word, how our thoughts changed, how we perceived things as they went through the storyline. We're going to be talking a little bit about the 14-hour live stream with the 3.1 content preview, and then this will probably be a little bit longer than one of our usual episodes with the catch-up, and then starting next episode, we'll get back into doing current content.
Yep. So let's start talking, and we will, as best we can, either avoid spoilers or warn you ahead of time that spoilers are coming.
Indeed. So
also, Nell, I can't help but notice there's something a little bit different about your character.
I know, I'm shorter.
Huh. Yeah, that must be it. Anyway.
No, but seriously, I know people have always been like, Nelza Makote, and most of my promotional art has been Nelza Makote, but I took the Aura Plunge. I am one of the 4% of the entire game population that is an Aura. Why? Because it's mostly the fact that I want to make a new character, but I didn't want to lose all my progress or my legacy marks and stuff like that, so I just Fantasia did a name change. So if you ever see Agrius Tatsutori out there, that is me.
Meanwhile, I continue to keep my character name secret, but yes, it is Nell. Nell the character has entered a graceful retirement period, and we can all be thankful for that.
Well, she has technically been a character for 5 years plus the 10-year time skip. Oh no, 5-year time skip, sorry. So that's a long time from a role-playing perspective to play the same character.
Meanwhile, I'm still, sticking with the same one. I made an Aura alt, who I nearly brought here, but I decided to just stick with the classic. Leave some sense of continuity, rather than leaving what the heck? Who's taking over Chocobo Dash? What's going on? I'm so confused.
Alright, but as you know, the Aura came with the release of Heaven's Word, which is the new official expansion for Final Fantasy XIV.
Which we are both in jobs from.
Indeed, I am using the Dark Knight job. I am now a tank.
Yep, and I've been, I've continued Ninja, but I do also have a level capped Machinist, so.
Yeah, so you can do gun things. So it is not Musketeer, it is purely Machinist, and there is somebody else walking in front of our face.
Yep, that's gonna happen. We obviously are in the anniversary celebration room.
We are on the 18th floor of the Square Enix headquarters. It's so lifelike in here.
But the anniversary of it. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's wonderfully meta. If you haven't already done it, I'm hopeful that this episode will hopefully be out before it's over, but it'll take you maybe 30 minutes tops to do it.
Oh, not even that. I did the whole thing, 15 minutes reading everything, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of the time that you might spend on this, without actually getting any quote-unquote progress, is trying to find it and get to the fate in time.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk too much about the event. The event is fantastic. It's something that needs to be experienced by yourself. Telling you secondhand, thirdhand is not the same as you actually experiencing it firsthand. It's something you need to do. And I don't think anybody has done anything like this in any games since Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, it's been a while since the. I'm trying to remember the last because I think there was a similar structure in one of the Final Fantasy games more recently than Chrono Trigger, but if so, it was one game. I think 9 used a similar conceit.
I don't think so. I don't remember that from 9. And I
It
remember
was hidden.
100%ing it.
It was hidden. I don't think it was counted in the percentage. I don't think it was counted in any kind of like completion or anything. It was just it might have been something you had to like save file editor Game Shark into, but it was in there, I think.
Okay,
But
so
I would
it
have
wasn't
to.
technically there. It was there, but it wasn't actually, available within the actual progress of the file. Okay. But
I
anyways, regardless, that's something that we can look
regardless.
up and debate later on or something. But Heaven's Word, without getting
Heaven's
into
Word.
too much spoilers, how do you feel about it?
Well, I've written my personal impressions of the expansion. I said before, and I kind of stand by this. I think this was very nearly a perfect expansion. Not quite, but very, very nearly.
I would say it's definitely a huge step up. I wish there was more zones. The zones we got are amazing and huge, but I wish there was like one or two more.
Okay, go ahead.
And
Well,
there are chunks in the storyline which really just felt like they just fell flat. Like they were kind of like, oh yeah, brush it under the carpet and let's go back to the other part of the story.
the biggest things that I felt were, a little subpar. I felt like the introduction to the story was a little bit weak, and there were a couple of big changes from the end of 2.55 story that kind of got rolled back suddenly, which I was not terribly happy with. I wanted them to actually stick with the consequence. But having said that, the story as a whole, I mean, there were characters I cared about. There were plot developments that I cared about. There was a whole lot of cool stuff going on. There were a whole lot of really cool dungeons along the way. I can totally see me. It's like, there are things I would like to have been a little bit different. I feel like with 3 new jobs to level, they really should have gone back and tried to fill something into that, 30 through 50 gap, which would have made it a little easier to transition. I feel like leveling secondary classes is a little more tedious than it needs to be now. So not everything is perfect, but I feel like they really have learned a lot of lessons. They told a better story. They told a more straightforward story. They gave you plenty of opportunities to care about the characters, and the actual content of, being a level 60 character and playing a level 60 job is far, far better than it was at level 50 already. So I think it's I think it's nearly perfect, if not quite up to full perfection.
Well, yeah, I can see that. There are some parts, and okay, spoiler warning. Please skip ahead to, I don't know, sometime in the future. But as far as I'm concerned, the spoiler is lifted when Yoshi was wearing a specific shirt. Anyhow, spoiler warning.
But there are spoilers. If if you want, we will we will skip ahead a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this right quick. I'm gonna get this done and out of the way. We're gonna talk about Hashivant for a moment. I've noticed a lot of people say that Hashivant is only a good character because the fact that Hashivant actually died and is dead and is going to stay dead. Hashivant is not a good character because he died and stayed and is going to stay dead. Hashivant was a good character before his death.
Yes.
Hashivant was our contact into Ishgard. He was the first Ishgardian that we met that wasn't an asshole. He was the first Ishgardian that we met that actually, helped us as we helped him. He went out of his way against a lot of things that he was taught to try to make things better for us, so that way we could make things better for him. He pretty much tried to rescue us single-handedly on at least 3 separate occasions. This is a guy who honestly embodied the elements of everything that his society wanted as a virtuous person.
Yep.
And
I would
he goes above and beyond everything.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. The thing is, and I have gone back and I've been leveling my Aura Halt, and the thing is that Orchefant, very much from the first time you met him, is introduced as this very optimistic, upbeat, genuine character who believes in you and believes in people and believes in ideals. That is exactly who he is. And he's portrayed throughout the story as someone who believes in you no matter what. He is 100. He has your back up to and including the point that, not too much before his last scene, he sees you fighting one of the Heavens Ward, and instead of, asking what the heck is going on, he immediately jumps into battle alongside you, because even though he knows that the Heavens Ward is supposed to be the highest authority, he figures if you're fighting them, something must be going on, because you wouldn't fight them unless there was a darn good reason for it. He trusts you implicitly. He is, in every way, the ideal of Ishgardian knighthood, and that's what makes his death so moving, is that he is, the whole time, completely faithful, completely loyal, and completely heroic.
And on top of that, he's true to character the entire time. They don't write anything bad in his storyline. Like, not saying bad, like, nothing bad happens to him, but they don't write him poorly. And he does still have character development. He does still have character growth. And when he does take that last step for his final cutscene, even at that last moment, he keeps true to his virtues.
Yep.
I believe his last words were, "A smile is more befitting for a hero."
Yep. And he is there are no real clunkers of characters in the 3.0 story. In all of the Ishgardian drama that unfolds, everyone has motivations, everyone has goals, everyone feels realized, and yeah, Orchefant clearly, he winds up dying. But I didn't know he was going to die, and I was surprised by it, and it was a genuine scene. I was very impressed by it, and I think that's enough talking about spoilers, but there was one other death that also surprised me, but on the same level did not surprise me.
We'll talk about that one another day, because I want to save that one for something else that I wanted to discuss, because there is a point that I want to discuss in that, so we'll make that the focal point of next episode, I think.
That sounds like a good idea. So, all right, if you're looking more, we are done with the spoilers. So
spoilers done. Do it, woot.
Okay.
But yeah, like overall, I took my time doing the storyline for this game, for the expansion. It took me about 3.5 weeks to go from first entering Ishgard till when I was finished the storyline. Which, when you think about it from everybody else's perspective, they were pretty much finished within a day or two, and we were like trying to spoil it left, right, and center. YouTube was trying to spoil it for me with related links, and it was really difficult to avoid spoilers.
See, I kind of stayed away from things until it took me about I'm going to say about 5 days. I was really working on trying to get because I had to do it for work, so it was important for me to get. So it took me about a few days to get through it. I wouldn't say a day and a half, but it did not take me long. But then I very happily brought an alt through, and I'm going to be bringing another alt through. So it was enjoyable. It's an enjoyable ride.
I'm going to suggest this, like, obviously not for you because you need to do these things for your job, but I'm going to suggest just this for the next expansion. This is how I handled it, and this is how, to me, it felt like the story had more impact and more meaning. Was myself and 2 of my friends were doing the storyline together, and we went through it slowly, taking it pace by pace. We would go through a good 5, 6, 7, 8 missions, basically till the next boss fight or the next dungeon, and we would go through the storyline together. But then we wouldn't do that dungeon or battle until the next day, and we would spend the rest of that day talking about what we had experienced so far, contemplating where the story was going, what had happened, and looking at it from different angles to go, okay, well, what if this means that? Or if this happens, where do we think we're going from here? And doing that got the story more into my mind and really helped flesh out a lot of things and see things from different angles rather than just going, oh, cutscene, move along. Oh, cutscene, going. Oh, cutscene, go this.
And I think really one of the things, I mean, you can really run the story however you want to, but I think it is important and it is a good idea to try and, don't rush because you think you have to. Don't rush because you feel pressured to. If you want to move through quickly, by all means. If you have hours to play and you want to play for hours, by all means. But, the story rewards going through, and it rewards you for, thinking about it and letting these characters make an emotional impact on you.
The other reason I didn't really feel the need to pressure myself and rush through it is one thing I'm really thankful to Square doing was waiting to put any endgame content in the game for about a month or two after the release of the expansion, which they said point blank, the reason for doing this is they want people to take their time and go through the story.
And that, I would say, is actually because as long as you got through the story by a month, that was when, esoterics started unlocking, and that was when you would start doing the serious tombstone work. And it's like, I got through it faster, so I was a little more kitted out early on, but I didn't feel like it was pressured. I felt like, this was, okay, I'm on the front end of the curve. Not that, oh crap, I'm behind, or I missed a weekly reset, or I missed 3 weekly resets, or whatever. So that was actually, I think that was a really good decision, and it meant
people could actually take the time to actually enjoy the content.
Yep.
Like, that's one thing I found about 2.0 and all the subsequent patches was people were like, hurry, rush, get the storyline done, we need to get down to in-game content, endgame. And it's like, yes, endgame is nice. Endgame is a nice chunk of the content. It's not the only content.
And, I mean, it's debatable. I mean, to some extent, we're going to get to see that again, because I don't think we're going to have,
totally now.
monthly lockout for 3.1. But I think it was an interesting approach, and I think it did create a nice sense of, you don't have to rush this. You can take it slow.
Now, I think now that Alex is out and the Esoterics is out, that I think we're going to slowly drift, not bad thing, but slowly drift back into the cycle that we had before. And then they'll go through that until we reach the end of the 3.x storyline. And then when they release the next expansion, I think they're going to do the same thing again of about a month or so after the expansion comes out, then they'll add the endgame content again.
Which is a good cycle, and I think that's what we're going to see. And honestly, I think that's a good balance. I think that, means that the people who are already, gearing up for esoterics, such as myself, we're not, sitting there waiting. The people who do get through stories in a day, they're not left waiting. But at the same time, there's not necessarily... Because the subsequent story patches usually do not... They do not contain the same amount of story.
No, they
because
don't.
They simply can't. So, as long as we're moving on here, naturally, let's start talking a little bit about what we know about 3.1 and what we don't know and what we think is going to happen.
Well, we're going to start off with the one thing that matters to me, more so than, I would say, a majority of the rating community, at least. Lord of Verminion.
See, the thing is, I'm not a minion person as much as you are, but I am intensely amused by this simply because, and I've said this on Twitter, here was a feature that was just, joked about for April 1st, and they're like, people really like this. Okay, we'll just add it, just in a patch, ain't no big deal.
I know, this is going to be awesome. And the thing is that if they're going to do stuff like this, like, oh, this was really popular. Well, what about some of the other stuff that they joked about for an April Fool's joke that was really popular? Like the whole, getting to know the character backgrounds. Like, obviously not the whole romantically date the major NPCs, but people on the forums were like, we would like something like this where we get to know more about their background, more about who they are. And I'm like, yes, I want to know more about the Scions. I want to know more about the Admiral. I want to know more about the Seat Seer. I want to know more about the individual major character player backgrounds.
And I think we get some of that with their the various pieces of short fiction. We
It's
get
not
some
the
pieces in.
same.
It's not the same, but we get bits and pieces here. But I think that they're starting to, as this game has long done, they're taking cues from okay, what do people like, what are people really into, and what can we do to capitalize on that?
True enough. True enough.
So, Lord of Vermilion, as many people have noted, it looks like it's kind of based off of the engines for a game that Square is releasing over in Japan, Lord of Vermilion.
Which, by the way, if anybody is in Japan and has Lord of Vermilion cards, I am looking for an Agrius Oaks card. Let me know.
But the point is that it looks like it's going to have a similar system to that, so it's going to be a fairly complex system. Now, I'm not going to name names here, but there's another game that kind of just put Pokemon into its game as a form of pet battling, and it looks like it's going to be a little more ornate than that.
It looks like it's going to be more of an RTS with minions, honestly,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping at the same time that every minion is unique, but at the same time balanced, because the last thing we need is something like, say, the Louis Swan minion, which comes from Turn 13, and the, I don't know, what's another really obscure minion?
I'm trying to think of some of the more obscure minions, that like some of the achievement minions.
Yeah, like the fledgling Apakalu, where you have to find all of the sightseeing points, stuff like that. I'm hoping that, yes, every minion would have unique looking abilities, but I don't want any of them to be overpowered based off of rarity.
Yeah, I don't want to find out that while it would work well for me if my wind-up Shantoto was more powerful than anything else, the people who can't get a wind-up Shantoto anymore, that's not really fair to them.
Exactly. So maybe make each minion have unique looking skills and animations, but don't make them unbalanced. Make it so that way every minion has its ups, its downs, its pros, and its cons.
And I think that's important, and that's always an important aspect. And balance is going to come over time. I'm happy to see that it's another option for people playing in the Gold Saucer, which is getting a little bit of an update with 3.1, which is nice. But
challenge log.
I know I haven't been doing any Gold Saucer. I'm hoping they add some more looks into the Gold Saucer because I'd love to go back to
I'm assuming though that if they're adding a challenge log for Gold Saucer and they're adding a new event, that they'll probably be upgrading the Gold Saucer store quite a bit.
Yeah, I imagine there's new stuff, and I mean there's certainly outfits that we see NPCs wearing that we can't get yet that would make sense for some of the vanity/town clothes that we already.
Can I have Y'shtola's outfit?
I would love Y'shtola's outfit. I would also love to get some of the noble clothing that you see wandering around Ishgard. There's a lot of cool stuff that I'd love to have in there as vanity.
I agree with that. I'm really hoping that there's a lot more vanity added. I would like to see some additional hairstyles added that you can only get from there. I do know that new Triple Triad cards are being added. Please don't add them in any of the Platinum packs / Gold packs. Not again.
That's your you want the complete collection. That's your road to hoe.
Hey, to be fair, I only need 3, and of those 3, I am mostly done with them.
I know. I'm just saying. That's your deal. I don't need completion, but that's not even one of the central features of the next patch. We're getting 2 new dungeons, and we are only getting 2. In the previous, in the 2.0 series, we usually got 3, but it looks like we're going to be getting 2, and hopefully, what I'm hoping, I can't say for sure, but it looks like those are going to just sit in the expert roulette along with what else.
That would be my assumption, because from the looks of it, I don't think that they're going to make it so that way it's 2 per every time. Because if they go up to 4 would be a nice balance to rotate between. And on top of that, I could see them making it so that way it doesn't change the amount of esoterics or any of the other gear that we get.
Yes.
They might just add some different looking gear of the same item level. And this way it keeps the game's balance still intact.
or even if the next two reward gear that is slightly hot, like even if the two newest dungeons reward, say, level 170 gear, because of how law gear is set up, that's not actually like unbalanced in any way. You still get better stuff from tomes, so you're still getting an upgrade there. But I would love it. I seriously would love it if, every patch we get two dungeons, the two oldest get rotated out and the two newest get rotated into the expert roulette, or if we just have an expert roulette that just keeps growing over the course of the expansion.
Yes and no. I would see that, this is from my opinion, that instead of going and cycling the expert roulette between 3 dungeons every patch...
I didn't say...
No, I'm using this from the previous example of 3 dungeons every patch that was in 2.0.
Yeah.
If we get 2 dungeons, and then we get 2 dungeons, and then when the next one comes out, which has got a higher item level that we would get, like the new tomestones, we would start over again with 2, and then the patch after that we'd get another 2 to bring it to 4.
I don't know but the point is, we don't know how it's going to cycle yet, but it's kind of assumed that we're going to have a 4 dungeon expert roulette at least for 3.1. So
we're hoping.
Yeah, I don't really want to do, every other one. Well, is it 1 or is it 2 today? But we're getting 2 new dungeons.
Yeah, one of them is the remake of
Void
the 2 new dungeons. One's that the tree in Idleshire, and the other one's the remake of the last story dungeon, isn't it?
Nope, that's not. Pharaoh Sirius is never a story. Pharaoh Sirius is completely off to one side.
I thought there was some. Oh, what was I thinking? No, never mind. I thought I heard that there was an extreme dungeon coming out that was based off of the last dungeon.
No, I don't. I think it's just those two. Just Pharaoh Sirius Hard and
the atrium,
the Arboretum.
Arboretum. Yeah.
Yep.
It's the building with the giant tree growing out of it around Idleshire.
So if you've been looking at that, as I have, and been like, what's that building's deal? Well, we'll find out.
It's the one with like 7 Marlboros sitting outside the front door.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So we got those coming, and that's going to be, more ways to get esoterics. We are also getting the Void Arc, which presumably will give us upgrade items for the esoterics gear, because...
I'm hoping and assuming that they keep it at the same way that World of Darkness was, with 1 upgrade item per week, starting with accessories, and then accessories or left slot, which would be body pieces, and then the option of getting weapon. Keep it like that with World of Darkness. However, do not add them to hunts.
Yeah, I would be surprised at this point if they made that. That would be a very surprising thing, but it is possible if they kept it around the same level as the various Domain items. But the point is, there's no reason to expect that we will not have upgrade items added to the Void Arc in some fashion, in one capacity or another, even if we don't know all the details. They're also adding in new exploration zones, which are meant for small parties and for free company airship exploration, so that's going to be interesting.
And before people jump on this all over going, I don't have a free company, or I can't get an airship, that's not fair. You can rent an airship to go to these places in Ishgard.
Yep, which I had not known about before. I'm still not super, on board. I still feel like that's gigging something behind something, especially when we have such a housing crisis as it is in this game. But it is what it is.
Well, the fact that they're allowing people that don't have access to an airship or don't have a free company or even don't have a house, that they can still do these things. I'm just assuming then that probably the people that have the airships are going to get some extra perks for doing it.
Or possibly just that it's cheaper / easier. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
We know there's going to be an advantage to it, but it's not going to be
game-breaking,
necessarily mandatory. Yeah. And then we also know we're getting Vanu Beast Tribe quests.
Hell yeah!
Hopefully culminating in the little Vanu dance.
I believe they said that is going to be one of the rewards.
I believe you are correct. I know that they've said that they are going to add that in for players. I don't remember if they have actually said that it will be one of the Beast Tribe quests, quest
It would
rewards,
make
but
sense for it to be a Beast Tribe quest.
it does.
And then we could go, unst, unst, hunst, hunst, hunst.
That is going to be fun. That's going to be, it's going to be as fun as as the Manderville used to be before everyone spammed it everywhere.
No, I think this would still be more fun than that, because could you imagine getting a whole bunch of people in Idle Shadow to start doing this at once and getting it all synced?
Yeah. And then we're going to have the usual balance changes. We're going to have the usual slew of things updated, new hairstyles, all that. We don't know exactly when the patch is coming, although we know it's going to be after probably September.
From my understanding, it's going to be late October. And
that is my guess.
This is my reasoning for it. Is they're going to be moving the European servers and opening the European data center mid-October. So it makes sense to transfer all the data onto those servers, get the servers up, running, and tested, and then put out the patch. And also the fact that they did say that when they do the European data center or data system transfer, the European players are going to be without the game for about 4 to 5 days.
Which might actually mean that they might be doing the patch then, because they already have it offline.
True. But at the same token, they would probably, if they do that, it would be at the end of that. So that way the European players aren't missing out on the patch content.
Agreed. But what we do know, all we know for absolute certain now, the only date that we have completely confirmed, is that we know that they're going to be talking about 3.1 at the Tokyo Game Show, which is going to be toward the end of September. So odds are good that we will not have the patch at that point.
True enough, which gives me a month and a bit to get my last 3 cards.
So, but yeah, and there's going to be more stuff. They've said that there will be another primal, and some people have speculated that we get a hint if you get to the 18th floor.
Yes, actually there is 2 hints, and I'm pretty sure that it's been spoiled a little bit, but I'm going to use the phrase that they used in here for one of them, which is not spoiler, and then I will use the one that is kind of off the wall. The first one talks about adding an extreme, saying maybe we should add the next extreme, which is the final boss. So the final boss fight from the 3.0 expansion is most likely going to be an extreme that's going to be coming out shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, did you want to do this one?
No, go ahead. We've settled you into the revealing so again, possible spoilers, possible speculation.
There is an NPC in the 18th floor that when you walk up to him, he's surrounded by minions and goes, "Now where did I put that clockwork doom train?"
And that kind of ties into, for one thing, that ties into my own speculation because, and I've said this before, if you look at the 2 primals that we've gotten, so like the 2 dedicated Beast Tribe primals that we've met in this expansion, we've met, not counting Alexander, because Alexander is kind of a class unto himself. We've met Ravana, and we've met Bismarck. Bismarck is very clearly both air and water aligned.
Yeah.
And Ravana is also very clearly earth and fire aligned. You fight him underground on a pedestal. There's a whole bunch of fire effects. And when you go to Ravana's quote-unquote lair, over in the Nathlands, it's surrounded by earth and fire elementals. So, they both. So that leaves
ice and thunder.
Lightning and ice.
Yep.
Which would fit pretty well with Doom Train. Not to mention that we've already got the Void Arc, which we don't know the details about, but I can sort of see that being tied together. I can see.
I'm gonna say no on that one. I think eventually we're gonna get another primal, and it'll be probably that Thunder Ice combo. There is one thing that's sticking and clawing and grabbing at the back of my mind right now regarding Doom Train.
Oh.
The original appearance of Doom Train has a kind of internet fame attached to it. A certain pummeling hero doing a special attack that was not especially supposed to actually work on it, but because it did, people have latched onto it. I'm assuming you know what I'm referring to.
Of course I do.
For those of you who don't know, in Final Fantasy VI, Sabin suplexes. Suplexes! The original Doom Train. That is something that has been around for a while. It has been referenced by both the North American and the Japanese communities. I'm saying if they have Doom Train, we're going to have Hildebrand storyline, and Godbert is going to have to frickin' suplex that train!
That's a possibility, but I am personally... Because I am personally of the mind, I'm sticking with my theory. It is possible that, yes, it's going to be a Hildebrand thing. We know that Hildebrand has brought in many elements from some of the 16-bit games.
Well, come on. If we have Doom Train, it has to be suplexed in some way, shape, or form. And who better to do it than Godbert? So it has to be a Hildebrand story.
You could argue they're different trains. There isn't just one train. There are multiple trains. You can still have him suplex train.
It's not the same. And besides, I'm pretty sure Hildebrand's going to be coming back this patch, so it would make sense.
I'm sure
it would make absolute sense then for him to have Doom Train. Because also, remember, when we fought Ultros, we got the Ultros minion, and then when we finally fought the final version of Greg, we got the Enkidu Chicken minion, which was his companion during that.
However, and this would be my argument against that, is that technically the enemy in 6 was the Phantom Train, which has been referenced already in the storyline as separate from Doom Train.
In the Japanese version of the game, it was Doom Train.
I'm just saying, as it is localized now.
Actually, when they re-released it on Game Boy Advance in North America, it was Doom Train as well.
But I'm saying, as it stands now, I'm saying in 14, we already have the Phantom Train running around, and we have a quote that is specifically referring to Doom Train. So they could be two different things.
Oh God, so what if the Phantom Train was carrying a whole buttload of crystals, and then somebody is like, this really pissed me off or something, and then suddenly turns into Doom Train?
That would be pretty awesome. It'd also make it would make a lot of Garleans cry, probably. I've become everything I ever hated.
Screaming and going down the tracks. Why?
Boy, nobody tell Hydrus. Nobody tell Hydrus that this happened. Oh my God! Can't you just see it? Just him kind of like walking through the gates of Ishgard, shamefaced. So, I guess I owe Eorzea kind of an apology. Turns out summoning a primal here is really easy.
Doom Train better be suplexed.
Man, we got Ultros. We got Ultros in the game. I mean, I think we got I think we got our critical mass of mimetic transfer there.
Somehow I don't see that happening. I think the Hildebrand is going to be where a lot of the old game references that are comical are going to come in. And suplexing Doom Train makes the most sense to fit in there.
Well, as long as you're happy.
Damn right I'll be happy. Anything with Hildebrand makes me happy. But yes, is there anything else regarding the live letter that for 3.1 that you want to discuss?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head from 3.1.
Well, I can't either, but there was one other thing from the live letter that stood out to me.
Okay.
I want that Fat Cat plush. Yoshi, you said you wanted to hear people's feedback on what kind of products we want over here in North America and in Europe. Give us the Fat Cat plush. Give us the Fat Cat plush. Give us the Fat Cat plush. I want it. I want it. I want it. Did I mention I want it?
You want it. I know.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
It's
See, I
adorable,
have
it's
actual
fat,
cats,
and it's
so.
squishy.
Yeah, that's my actual cat, so.
Yes, but is your cat the fat cat?
No, but, you know, he is a fat cat. Garrus is a fat cat.
Ah.
I would like to note for the record, for those who did not see it, on Twitter, that, you know, I told Nell that I would give her a fat cat for her birthday, and I took a picture of my cat and sent it to her.
And then you put a note on your cat afterwards.
Yes. Happy birthday, Nell, even though you reject this beast. Good times.
Indeed. So, I think we'll wrap up the episode here. It's not too much longer than our usual one, and we avoided a lot of discussion on spoiler-ish topics. We're going to probably get into a more spoiler-ish story checks on the next episode, where we discuss something that I want to bring up lore-wise and canon-wise, and we'll see how things go from there.
Yep.
But I think this is it for this week's episode. So,
Yep.
As always, you can find us on YouTube. We are Chocobo Dash there. I also am doing streams on a regular basis at twitch.tv/NellCelestine, so you can find me there a lot of the time. And I am currently doing the Road to Xenoblade Chronicles X Marathon, where I am playing through every game in the Xeno series 3 days a week to try to blaze through them as much as possible before December.
Which is pretty awesome, and if you have not played these games yourself, if you're not familiar with them, if you're not sure, you know, why there is so much dedication to some of these games, because these are shared favorites for, and there are things, you know, Nell and I disagree on, like, you know, she likes one thing and I like another thing, but in the case of Xenogears and Xenosaga, we are in complete agreement. So
most of the time.
If you have never,
most of the time.
I can't think of anything that we are in disagreement about on those.
Emeralda is best character?
Emeralda's pretty cool.
Okay. Then, yes, we're in complete agreement. 100%.
Close enough to complete agreement here. But the point is, you know, if you have never seen these, go ahead. Obviously, she's streaming her way through Xenogears, and I would like to note that if you have never played Xenogears, it is incredibly difficult to find a copy of the game, but it is available on PlayStation Network.
For a decent price, too. But
yes,
me...
I actually have. That's where I got my copy, so.
But me, I don't play it unless I have physical copy.
Yep. My physical copy, unfortunately, was lost a while back. So.
I'm so glad mine survived the move.
Yeah.
Alright, so you can also find us on Twitter. I'm at NellCelestine.
And I'm at Eliot_Lefebvre.
And you can also read Eliot's official work over at Massively Overpowered.
Yep, that's massivelyop.com.
Yeah, that's the Wisdom of Nim section, isn't it?
Yes, that's Wisdom of Nim is my weekly Final Fantasy XIV column. I also do other stuff there as well, but...
And one of the other things mentioned in the Rising before we take off is the mention of them planning another FanFest. Now, I know I'm going to be going for sure. Eliot, will you be attending?
I don't know. It depends on when they have it. It really does.
Sounds fair. So, if possible, I'm assuming then that if it's within reason, you will be there as well. So, at least one, if not both of the members of Chocobo Dash will be there. I also work together with Whispering Dawn podcast now as well, so there'll be representation from Whispering Dawn as well. So with that in mind, everybody, take care. And this is Nell Celestine.
And this is Eliot Lefebvre.
Bidding you adieu.
Adieu.